I'm Charlie.
All right.
I'm Yara.
Okay.
I'm Emma.
Perfect. Okay, so you guys are the app?
Yep.
All right, whenever you're ready.
So, the topic of the debate is, this House should increase space exploration funding. The type of the debate is a policy debate. The weighing mechanism is which policy is better. This House, our policy is this household should increase space exploration funding. Our definitions are this house means the U.S. Increase means to give more. Space exploration is studying space and all things to do with NASA and satellites. Our first contention is that we could control air traffic better with more advanced satellites. With increased funding, we could be able to control air traffic better. What we mean by air traffic is airplane traffic. With better air traffic control, we would be able to have less delays. Hundreds of people in the U.S. have their airplane flights delayed or worse, canceled. Many of us in the room have had this happen to us as well. With more advanced satellites, we could be able to locate the exact location of the airplanes all around the U.S. With this knowledge, we will be able to control air traffic better and have less delayed flights. We can go further with more space exploration funding. We can go further into space to reach more with more funding. With more money, we will be able to explore further into space and find new things, such as planets and galaxies. With more funding, we can reach the best. We can research the best way to go to a planet and hopefully be able to get there quicker. If we can go to planets quicker, we will be able to find many things in this universe and all universes. I mean, why would we go to the moon for no reason? We did it, so why can't we go even further? Our third contention is that with increased funding, we'll be able to make space flight safer. First off, anybody would give money to save somebody. People will die every year from traveling in space. With safer space exploration, we will be able to save many lives and therefore encourage more people to go into space. The more people in space, the more information we will find out. People will not be afraid to go into space if they know they are safe. With an increase of funding for space exploration, we will be able to travel into space safely and won't be afraid to.
This is a policy debate. We are the negations. Our weighing mechanism is which policy does more good. As a negation, we will try to prove that our policy is better than the affirmatives. Our policy is this House should keep space exploration funding the same. Our definitions are this House, the U.S., increase more, funding, give money to an organization, space, outer space, exploration to explore. The society, our first contention is that the society has already accomplished a lot in space. Right now, we have had so many successful missions in space. We've walked the moon and space aircrafts, and a space aircraft has already reached Pluto. The society also had Red Rover exploring Mars. With so many accomplishments with the money that the U.S. and that the space exploration has, we, the negs, see no reason to increase funding. We have made so many discoveries with the money the U.S. and the space exploration has. There's no reason to spend more money on something that is already so successful and instead use the money on things that the society need in their everyday life, which leads us to that we should use the extra money for other things. In the U.S. alone, there are millions of people in poverty or suffering from debt. These people need money desperately. If the U.S. put more money into helping the poor, then the poverty rate would go down drastically. The poor are everywhere, and the U.S. needs to do something about it. If the poverty rate went down, the U.S. would be a better place. Our third contention is that bad things can happen in space. There are many asteroids and comets in space. Every time someone goes into space, there's a very high risk of death. If the U.S. continues to increase funding, it is the same as funding for someone to die. If someone was in space and they died, it would cause sadness and would waste money. Therefore, there is no benefit in increasing the funding for space exploration. Imagine if your loved one had suddenly died in a mission into space. Imagine how many people have relied and funded so much money, although they knew it was a 50-50 chance if the person would die or not. It was not only a waste of money, but it was also the death of your loved one. For the affirmation's first contention, they said that they can control air traffic. It would take a long time to get a satellite like that we have. Their second contention is that we can explore further into space. Our refute is that we have already reached Pluto with aircrafts. Their third contention is that space flight could be safer. With the money that we have, it would take a really long time to make it safe for us.
Our opponent's first contention is that the society has already accomplished a lot. Yes, our society has accomplished a lot, but why not accomplish more? We can go the extra distance and accomplish even more than we already have. Our opponent's second contention is that we should use the money for other things. We do have other problems in the U.S. that we could use the money for, but space exploration is also a big is also a big thing that we can use the money for. They said that safety is a big problem for space exploration, so we can use the money for safety, like I said earlier. Our opponent's third contention was that bad things can happen in space. Like we said earlier, we can with the extra funding that we have, if we increase the funding, we will be able to make space exploration more safe, and there will be less problems. Our opponent's reputation would be that it would take a long time to get satellites up in space, and therefore be able to control air traffic control. If we increase the funding, we will be able to put more money into it, and therefore get it up faster. And for our opponent's second reputation, they said we've already reached, like they said in their first contention, they said we've already reached far distances, and they said we've already reached Pluto. And like I said earlier, we can take the extra step and continue to research all around the universe. Our opponent's third and final refutation was that it would take a long time to make space travel more safe. And like we said for their first refutation, with the more money that we have, the shorter time it will take to build it. And with more people working on it, we can make it more safe and make it in a pretty short time.
Okay, so for their first refutation, they said, why not accomplish more? The reason our refutation to this is, while doing this, you risk even more lives, and that's a huge price to pay just to accomplish more. And also, to our refutation, how we already reached Pluto, they said that, again, why not go farther? But again, it would risk more lives, and it took like 10 years to get to Pluto, and so it would take even longer to go farther. So even if we increased funding now, it still wouldn't benefit us for another 10 or 15 years. And then for our point on poverty, they said that space is also very important, but there's only a select few people that go into space, and there's millions of people that are in poverty. And so it's more reasonable to spend money on the millions of people than on the select few that can go into space. And then your refutation on safety. You said that we could make it more safe, but even if we got funding, it would still take a lot of trials and errors to make it more safe, and many people could be affected and possibly killed, and that's still a pretty huge risk. And then for the satellite, they said that if you got more money, it would be faster, but it still takes a really long time to make a satellite. So again, like I said, even if we got the money now, it wouldn't benefit us for a few years. And then we said for our third refutation, we said that it takes a long time to make it safer, and they said again that it's more money, it would become faster, but still, again, you would have to risk lives to benefit. So is it really worth it to risk lives and kill innocent people just so that we could make it a little bit safer for others?
In conclusion, we believe that the negs outweigh the affirmation. Our first contention, we talked about how the society has already accomplished a lot in space. For instance, walking on the moon, having Red Rover exploring Mars, and many others. Another contention was that bad things can happen, or maybe even terrible things can happen in space. And our third contention was that we should use the extra money for other things. There are many families that are struggling to get enough money to give food to their children and to take care of the whole house, the household. For the affirmations, contentions, they said that we could control air traffic. It would take a long time to get a satellite. They said we can go further into space. We have already reached Pluto, and we can risk more lives. We can risk a lot of lives trying to go farther into space. They also said that space flight could be safer. Well, it will take us a really, really long time to make everything safer. And for these reasons, we believe that the negs should win this debate. Thank you.
To conclude this debate, we believe that our policy is better than our opponent's policy. Our policy is that this house should create should increase space exploration funding. Our first contention was that we can make air traffic better, and so with advanced satellites. We mean that we can control air traffic and therefore have less delays or canceled flights. You guys said that it would take a long time, but with more money means we can hire more people, and with more people means we can build faster, allowing us to get it up quicker. For our second contention, we said that we will be able to find more, and the neg said that we've already found so much. But imagine what we can be able to find with that extra money. We can go so much further and learn so much more. That just imagine it. So for our third contention, we said that it can make space flight safer. What we mean is that more people will want to go into space if there's safer flights. So we can learn so much more. And the neg said that it takes so much time. But like I said, if we have more money, we can get more people to make it go faster, because with more people means quicker build time. And so that's why we believe that the affirmative should beat the neg.
Okay.